absolutely dominated the ball. They've come up against teams that have sat and tried to counter-attack against them. Yeah, I thought they were devastating on the counter-attack against Manchester City, and shows that they've got players, when they move the ball quickly, that can hurt any side. But again, tonight's going to be that test-off. Roma aren't going to come out and be a Manchester City. They're going to sit in, they're going to defend properly, and it's going to be down to Spurs to open them up, but also they still need to be more clinical. They do create a lot of chances, this Spurs side.
And the win came at a cost. Guillermo Vicario breaking his ankle in a collision with Savinho. He carried on playing for an hour. Janj Postecoglou described as one of the most heroic performances in the modern history of the club. He's going to be out for, quote, months rather than weeks, according to the Spurs boss. But when he was asked whether that meant they'd be looking to sign a free agent keeper as cover, Ange gave a pretty swift response.
Not a particular reason. Why? Because you're back in the players.
Well, that's why we've got a squad of players. Yeah, I mean, I don't think us signing a sort of a free agent now is going to help us. You know, if I hadn't named Fraser in the Europa squad, then geez, that would have been a radical decision. And you're left with two, then you kind of, again, they wouldn't be able to play in Europe. You kind of look at it, but you know, unless something else happened, that's why we've got 4 goalkeepers. We've got young Luca, who's, to be fair, he's been injured, so he's not really ready. But Fraser I've known for a long time, and he's such a strong character within the group, and always ready to play. Brandon's improving all the time, so you know, and Alfie's also sort of been at the club for a while, and whenever he's been asked in terms of, you know, the training capacity that they bring, I'm more than comfortable with what we've got.
Well, Fraser Forster's played 475 career games, 6 times an England international, hasn't played a league game since the back end of the season before last. Such has been Vicario's form. And for Spurs to have a good European challenge this time around, Forster's really got to hit the ground running in this lengthy spell he's going to have in the team.
Yes, he is. He's at an age now where he's got that experience, he's got the mentality. At times he's shown himself to be a terrific goalkeeper, but at times he's let himself down also in some of his performances. But Spurs need him at the moment, and ultimately at one point he was 3rd choice behind Lloris and Vicario, and now he's going to be 1st choice for the next month or so. So a real opportunity for him, and one you would expect at this stage of his career that he'll really want to take. And the 2 other goalkeepers that Ange was talking about there, Brandon Austin and Alfie Whiteman, and neither has the normal profile for a goalkeeper. One's 25, one's 26. They've played 9 minutes of football for Spurs between them, and that was a substitute appearance for Whiteman 4 years ago this week. Both have been out on loan, but haven't got too many miles on the clock in terms of loan games, so they've spent a lot of goalkeeping time training in their careers, very little playing. Forster gets injured, gets himself sent off, then you are throwing a rookie in. For all the quality that clearly they've shown to have both been at the club for a long time, the lack of miles on the clock could ultimately be a problem. Listen, let's hope it doesn't happen that way. No, but it is such an unusual position, being a goalkeeper, and it wouldn't be the first time that you've seen a goalkeeper have very little exposure and then still go on and have a very good career from the age of 26, 27 and have a decade of playing at whatever level that may be. And sometimes that's just the way it happens, but there's usually a reason why, and it's usually because they're not quite good enough yet.
Well, the 2 teams are out. Roma in their customary blood red shirts with the orange trim, and Spurs in their famous all white. And they'll be kicking from right to left in this first half. Referee tonight is Glenn Niebuhr, who took charge of Arsenal's draw with Bayern Munich last season, back in North London again today. You'll remember that was the match which Harry Kane and co were absolutely convinced that they should have had a penalty. Gabriel picking the ball up after a goal kick. And Glenn Niebuhr back in North London today. Let me remind you of the 2 teams. Forster in goal for Spurs, Porro, Dragoshin, Davison, Gray, Bentancur, Johnson, Kulusevski, Sarr and Son, and Solanke. For Roma, Spiar in goal, Celik, Mancini, Hummels and Digger and Angelino, Kone and Paredes, and then El Shaarawy and Dybala wide with Dovbyk playing through the middle. Earlier today in the Conference League, Chelsea won 2-0 at Heidenheim. They've still got a 100% record. Hearts beaten 2-0 in Belgium by Cercle Bruges. TNS lost 1-0 at home to the Swedish side, Djurgården. Now we'll keep you up to date with exactly what's going on in the Europa League games tonight. Rangers in action, away to Nice. And it's the first game for Ruben Amorim at Old Trafford as Manchester United look for a fifth home win in 6 against the Norwegian side. Bodø Glimt, who at the moment are above them in the Europa League table. But Spurs clear of them both, 9 points from their 4 games. And it will be Roma that get us underway here, kicking from left to right. We'll also keep you up to date with the games involving Larne and Shamrock Rovers in the Conference League as well. So we're underway. Ball immediately played back towards Paredes, and here's Matt Hummels with a long ball over the top. Dovbyk will chase. Good starting position from Fraser Forster, who comes out and side puts a volley away towards halfway. But interesting, Dean Ashton, that immediately they got the ball with the high Spurs line, Roma looked to just drop one over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dovbyk looked like he was offside. The assistant didn't actually put his flag up in the end, and he's just having a little word with Ange Postecoglou because of that. But of course, when Spurs play that high line, and if you see the gap, especially between the two centre-backs, and that's where Dovbyk will be looking to pounce in behind.
Spurs have got the ball with Dominic Solanke turning very neatly in the midfield and then being fouled right in front of the referee. And it's a free kick that Spurs are looking to try and take quickly. They're just prevented from doing that. The play does now restart with Bentancur. And here's Son Heung-min, Spurs captain, playing it back for Sarr. Sarr to Ben Davies, about 5 yards inside the Roma half. Dragashin will bring it forward now. Pedro Porro helping it further wide for Brennan Johnson, who's recalled to the side tonight. It's one of 4 changes that Ange Postecoglou has made. Ben Davies now on the edge of the centre circle, about 6 or 7 yards inside his own half, as he just goes back for Radu Dragashin, who's getting a lengthy run in the side because of the injury for Romero, Vicario, Richarlison, Van de Ven, all on the sidelines at the moment. What a start it's been for Amorim's Manchester United at Old Trafford. A goal up inside a minute. Live over on TalkSport. Alejandro Garnacho scoring that. They got a quick goal at Ipswich at the weekend, an even quicker one tonight. Porro for Spurs, pulling it back here. That could well be a penalty, but the referee says no. Hummels across to make the challenge. Sarr looks up at him from his position on the edge of the 6-yard box, and the referee said nothing wrong with that challenge at all. Will of course be checked by the VAR, Paul van Berkel, but Glenn Niebuhr was absolutely adamant that there was nothing wrong with that at all.
No, and Pap Sarr actually, he didn't look to the referee straight away. So I just wonder how much contact. It actually looked, I think from our vantage point, it looked like a penalty because Sarr just got there ahead of Hummels. It's just where the Hummels have just stopped at the last second and Sarr's kind of bundled past him. But the referee just waved it away.
Well, they're still looking at it, and the fact that they are still looking at it, particularly in a game in Europe, suggests there is a more than significant element of doubt.
Yeah, just looking at Hummels there, he's chatting to Solanke and he's just kind of saying he's like brushed and sort of bounced off my thigh as if he's not really made a challenge. It's more a case of Sarr almost running into his thigh. It's just whether he stepped across. It looked like he thought he was going to win it.
Oh, he's going to have a look. He's been told to go to the monitor, and he forgot which side of the ground the monitor was to start with, but he's gone over to the far touchline now. And he will be having a look for himself at the incident. The monitor's actually got Spurs fans either side of him, and they're both telling him, well, that's a foul, it's a penalty. And he's having another look at the incident as Hummels just comes across, and I think he's going to overturn it. He is. Penalty to Tottenham.
Well, Well, he stepped across Hummels. He said that it was his thigh that made contact, and it was. But I think especially when you slow it down, it just looks like that's enough of a contact to just glance Sarr off the ball and to the ground. Hummels is not happy though.
Far from happy. The man who's played in 2 Champions League finals. He's moved to Italy. It hasn't been a great start for him. And Hummels giving, on his full debut for Roma, a penalty away. So a chance for Son against Spia to give Spurs a 5th-minute lead. He stands 4 yards from the ball, absolutely motionless, takes a half step to his left-hand side. Spia also motionless on the line. Son running up, right foot in and in. Beautifully taken penalty, driven into the bottom right-hand corner with aplomb. His 4th of the season, and Spurs lead Ranieri's Roma by a goal to nil inside 5 minutes.
There was no stutter. There was no pause. It was just a couple of steps, a little burst of pace, and then a firm side foot across the other side. It was Svilla, the goalkeeper, who dived the wrong way. And it's a lovely start for Spurs.
Well, 5 minutes played, and 2.5 minutes of that was the referee having a look at the image of Hummels making the challenge on Sarr. So a breathtaking start for Manchester United on TalkSport, and for Spurs here on TalkSport 2. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. What a chance that was, just coming forward on the edge of the penalty area. Dybala, unmarked, running onto a cross, but tamely volleying it wide.
So unlike him. Such a talented player, such a technician. Brilliant ball in from Angelino from that left-hand side. Just cut it back to the edge of the area where Dybala stepped onto it, onto that favoured wand at times of a left foot. Gets it all wrong. Comes off his heel in the end. Takes all the pace off the opportunity.
Another couple of early goals in the Europa League as well. Braga leading Hoffenheim 1-0. And Slavia Prague a goal up against Fenerbahce. Solanke making a nuisance of himself. Roma have got a player down injured. And for the moment, Mancini getting back to his feet now, holding the small of his back. Roma have been able to get the ball away and guide it out towards Stefan El Shaarawy over on the far touchline. Opportunity for Kone to turn in the midfield. Wonderful ball sprayed out towards Zeki Celik, the right wing back, making his way forward on this near touchline for Roma. Dybala gets in. He goes out to the other side of the pitch. Angelino, the one-time Manchester City player, working back for Hummels. Hummels to his left-hand side, and Ndicka more than happy to go back to his goalkeeper. 7 minutes gone. Spurs leading, courtesy of that 5th-minute Son penalty. But we've seen the good from Spurs going forward. We haven't seen the bad from them defensively. But just a little warning shot across the bows with that half chance for Dybala that he couldn't make the most of. Spurs will play out from the back here with Forster into the feet of Bentancur. Ben Davies now plays it forward. Just ricochets off Son's shin, but he can then guide it safely back for Davis, who will launch it forward. Hummels up against Solanke is a battle that seemingly the Spurs, number 19, fancies his chances in. And now he's given away to Kulusevski, and he'll make his way to the edge of the penalty area. Poked inside the box, and Solanke almost got to that, but Roma are going to be able to bring it away. And will do so through the midfield with Kone. Kone out towards the far touchline. Spurs, good value for this 1-0 lead, but they've just given away a free kick.
Yeah, again, the industry from Kulusevski works incredibly hard for the team, winning the ball back, which is what Ange wants from his side. And then actually Ndicka does brilliantly, because what he does is he just holds his position. I think if he steps either way, left or right, Kulusevski just prods that to the opposite side. Instead, he just stood his ground and got crowded out in the end, Kulusevski.
Rangers still 0-0 in their game away to Nice. Live over on TalkSport for you right now. Manchester United 1, Werder Bremen 0 with the first minute goal from Garnacho, his 8th of the season, and Son's 4th of the season. Spurs 1, Roma 0. Shamrock Rovers behind away to Rapid Vienna in the early stage of their Conference League ties. The ball is just clipped inside the penalty area here, looking for Dovbyk, headed down by Angelino. Kulusevski should be able to bring it away. He's poked it back towards the edge of his own box, but Davis will find Dragoshin with a minimum of fuss. Played out towards the Tottenham right for Porro. Fall from him to Johnson, and then a Roma player has gone down. It's Kone off the ball over on that far touchline. The Roma players are asking Porro to put the ball out of play, which he is happy to do, but as soon as he sort of stopped before poking it clear, referees raced over to see if Kone is all right. That was a strange one.
Delayed reaction, wasn't it? Don't know whether he's got caught and then felt the pain, but he's done the thing that certainly the Tottenham fans and most fans hate, which is where you're on the pitch, you roll off it and you roll back on to make sure the game is stopped. And yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think it was more just a clash of shins, to be honest.
Spurs have got a great record on this ground in the Europa League. They've won their last 7 here in this competition. And if you add in Son's penalty, over that time they've now scored 20 goals without reply, which is a pretty impressive return. Hold on here. It'll be their 7th home win in 8 games in all competitions. Their 11th win in 15 all told. Also give them 12 points from their first 5 games within this revamped Europa League phase. Spurs in the live table right now, having started the night 7th, currently up to 4th, and a point behind Lazio, Bilbao, and Eintracht Frankfurt, who lead their game. Lazio and Bilbao have already played. Their games have finished. They've both got 13. Eintracht leading 1-0, also on 13, and Spurs ahead by the same scoreline have 13 as well. So it'll be a 4-way tie at the top. Remember, the top 8 are spared the playoff. And that's the situation the Spurs are hoping to find themselves in. Rangers away next. We'll bring you that one live on TalkSport. That's a fortnight tonight at Ibrox. Then Offenheim away, and the Swedish side Elfsborg come here on match day 8. Spurs will hope to have it done by then. Ball played forward towards Swedish international Deki Kulusevski, but he's lost out over on the far touchline. Angelino with a quick switch of play. Scampering across to try and cover Celik's run was Archie Gray. Couldn't quite get there in time. Dybala just curves a nice ball inside the box. Dragoshin covered it well. He had Dybala and Dovbyk both making a run towards the edge of the box. And it was headed away and out for the first corner of the night to Roma, but Spurs lead it 1-0.
Yeah, and look, it doesn't take much to recognise where that space is for the opposition against Spurs. It's out wide when Gray and Porro are really narrow in that midfield area, so they just keep switching it quickly, Roma, and getting some joy.
So corner that'll be taken on the Roma right as they look for an equaliser. It's clipped towards the edge of the penalty area for Angelino's volley, which would have gone out for a throw. Instead, it's gone back to Dybala, who was offside, having taken the corner. He then goes for goal despite the flag being up and missed. So cheers all round of derision from the Tottenham fans.
Spectacularly funny. They go for the big, stunning volley from the edge of the area. It ends up being a 1-2 with the player that took the corner, and he's offside. Fantastic.
He was a genuine shot from Angelino as well, but it was the shot of a man who hasn't scored in 37 games for his current club. You're listening to Spurs 1, Roma 0 in the Europa League. It's live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Ball just through the legs of Kulusevski and picked up by Dybala, who's been quite influential in these early stages. Dybala then working it back inside the centre circle, and then Kone was put under almighty pressure, but he survived it just about, and Dicker will play it out towards Angelino over on the far touchline. Good challenge on him by Porro, and then he's turned and got past him, but Angelino's ball towards El Shaarawy was easily read and cut out, and Spurs can neatly turn their way out of trouble and play it forward. And now Son just had the opportunity for a moment to try and run at Mancini, but it was good covering from Paredes to win it back. And Mats Hummels has got the ball at his feet. The man that gave the penalty away, converted by Son, and Spurs lead, courtesy of that moment by Golden Hill.
Well, they're not going to find it easy, Tottenham, to play out from the back. That's for sure. I mean, Roma are first for winning the ball in the final third in Serie A. this is a team that's happy to work high up the pitch, happy to hunt as Spurs try and play out. And actually they'll want to keep the ball themselves, which will actually suit Spurs. They'll try and keep possession. Roma, third for average possession in Serie A as well. The stats actually look pretty good for Roma. It's just actually they've been very underwhelming in both boxes.
Yep, 3 wins in 13 league games, which has them down in 12th in Serie A at the moment. And their away form is pretty lousy. They haven't won on the road since a victory in Udine back in April. 7 draws, 60 feet since then. Forster a long way off his line. 50-yard attempt to try and beat him was an outrageous attempt from Dybala. It wasn't the worst shot we've seen from Roma so far tonight, but he's only got Angelino to thank for that. A good idea though. Ball played forward, out towards Son. Son now with a chance to try and run at Gianluca Mancini. Son cutting it onto his right foot, lays it well. Kulusevski just couldn't take a first touch of sufficient quality to get the ball out from underneath his right foot to get a shot in, and he'll be frustrated that he just bounced off him really and ran away, because that would have been a great opportunity.
He just hesitated a fraction, thinking that the Roma defender would get a touch, and there was a tiny touch, but it still came through to him, and he just wasn't set and ready for it, and it just bounced off his foot. But just a little tick there, I think, for Son up against Mancini, who just stepped away when he could have engaged.
Spurs will bring it forward again, down towards the left-hand side for Son. Right in front of Claudio Ranieri, who's wearing a big black coat on a cold North London night. Sarr given away by Sarr as he tried to spray the ball out towards the right-hand side. His second touch, then a tackle to try and win it back from El Shaarawy. And Spurs have smuggled control of the ball again, but Sarr will be frustrated with himself, because if he could have just angled that another couple of feet past El Shaarawy, Spurs would have been in a good position again. It's another night where we got a choice of listening for you on the TalkSport network. And United still 1-up, Spurs 1-up here as Johnson plays it across the face of the penalty area, but past Son and out of play for a throw. 2 games Tuesday, 2 games last night, 3 today, 2 tomorrow, with Brighton taking on Southampton, our 150th commentary of the season on the TalkSport network. And Brighton win that, or in fact even a score draw will take them up to second. Southampton will be bottom irrespective of what happens there, but they've got a good record on that ground. Brighton, Southampton, game number 150 of our season comes your way tomorrow. Sheffield United, Sunderland, an absolute belter in the Championship, comes live from Bramall Lane here on TalkSport 2 tomorrow. And then Saturday, let me point you in the right direction of Watford QPR, Forest Ipswich. Our games here on TalkSport 2 on Saturday. And the FA Cup is back on Sundays. Shelik plays the ball inside the penalty area here. Oh, Forster just stayed at home at the near post, then tries to juggle it, ends up with the ball in his hand. It's very unconventional goalkeeping. Then as he bowls it out towards Kulusevski, he's put under immediate pressure. And Kone will lay it out towards Angelino. Ball flashed in the cross by him. And Dragusin knocks it away. And now Spurs will be able to bring it out of harm's way. Sarr looking for Solanke, and he's given it away. Hummel stepping up from the defensive line. Here's Dybala. Dybala with a little reverse ball. Shelik on the right-hand side of the box and drives it in. It hits Davis and goes out of play for a corner. That was really unorthodox goalkeeping from Forster, because he didn't come out and try and narrow the angle. He just literally stayed rooted to his near post.
I mean, he's incredibly lucky. He's incredibly lucky that Dybala was as selfish as he was, because Dybala ends up trying to just poke it past Forster when actually he should just side-foot it to his teammate to tap in, because Forster was completely stuck on his line. Really strange decision from the goalkeeper, but got away with it.
Well, he's got a corner to defend here, and it's a poor one because it didn't get the height to beat the man at the near post, and Porro's headed it away. And it goes out for a Roma throw. If anything, Dean, over the last 5-6 minutes, Roma have been much the better side, but still Spurs leading courtesy of that early Son penalty.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to keep you on your toes in terms of thinking you can relax and they're going to give the ball away. Both teams have been sort of guilty of that so far, and Roma have looked comfortable when they've got possession. They've got good movement, they've spotted the space out wide that they've utilised, and then they're looking to cross early as well.
Ben Davies slices a ball that was played over the top away out to the far touchline, where Kone chased after it and was pushed to the ground. So Roma have a free kick right on the edge of the Spurs penalty area, but it is halfway between the left-hand edge of the box and the left-hand touchline. Roma will push 5 bodies forward. Hummels is in there, looking for a little bit of retribution after giving the penalty away. And Dicker's in there as well. So too Dovbyk. Mancini forward from the back. Waits on the edge of the penalty area, the Roma captain. Paredes is in there as well. Spurs trying to keep a high line. And it's a brilliant header in for 1-1. And Dicker coming to meet it. And he just stole a march on that statuesque Spurs back line. A little flick looping header over Forster, whose despairing grasp couldn't get him there in time. And Roma will feel they deserve parity through the opening 20 minutes. It's 1 apiece.
Well, in terms of the accuracy, it doesn't get much better than this from Ndicka. It's a really flat, whipped delivery in from that left-hand side. So all he's got to do is guide it. The pace is on the ball, and he just arcs his forehead just to the side and just lets the ball glance off it. And he just goes up and over Forster, who's stretching as much as he can with his left hand, kisses the underside of the bar, hits the floor, and then hits the roof of the net. It's a terrific header.
1-1 here. And at Old Trafford, Hakon Evjens equalised for Bode Glimt. Manchester United 1, Bode Glimt 1. That continues live over on TalkSport. If you've got the TalkSport app, it's easy just to swipe left and swipe right, and you'll be across all the action. 1-1 there, 1-1 here, and Rangers still 0-0 away in the south of France against Nice. Archie Gray playing the ball forward. That's the first goal. Spurs have conceded in 8 Europa League ties at home. Got a good record against Italian sides. They've only lost 1 out of the last 10 matches on home soil against Italian teams. That was when Juventus beat them back in 2018. But Roma have got themselves back in this game. You have to say that they deserve it after the 6 or 7 minutes that have preceded the equaliser. Now, Kulusevski trying to make something happen. Angelino came forward and maybe was a little bit ill-advised in doing that, but it forced Kulusevski to play an early ball. He couldn't find Johnson. And he goes through for the Serbian international Milis Spilar. He will bowl the ball out. The goalkeeper who once played against Manchester United in the Champions League when he was just 18. Ball's been worked down the right-hand touchline. I thought it curved straight out of play and back in again. And so too did the Tottenham coaching staff. The play goes on. And dybala just lofts one out towards the far touchline. Angelino's got to scamper after it, but he's kept it in. He's faced up by Porro, who can't prevent the ball to be played back through the midfield towards Kone. Clipped over the top, and a right-footed volley goes into the bottom right-hand corner, and they've turned it around. Magnificent strike from El Shaarawy. They've scored twice in 3 minutes, and it's Spurs 1, Roma 2.
What a move this is from Roma. Absolutely fantastic. It all starts with dybala, and it almost ends with him too. A brilliant crossfield pass to Angelino, who keeps it in on that far side, plays it to Kone. He just lends it to dybala, who'd followed it across, and it's just the most delightful little dink over the top of Dragoshin for El Shaarawy just to smash the volley into the ground and skip it off the surface past Forster. What a stunning team goal that is, and dybala, hats off, what an assist.
Well, Spurs restarted play from the kickoff, and the referee said no. Just wait a moment. So they're still checking the goal. I'm not sure what they think they might have seen. And now the referee has ruled it out. It's an offside, and it's back to 1-1.
Well, he did look across. El Shaarawy did look across at the assistant. So he felt it must have been close. From a Roma perspective, it's harsh. It's horrible when you score such a wonderful team goal.
They're on the front foot again immediately. Spurs have got to wake themselves up here after that let-off. Now the ball is played in. Dominic couldn't get there. It goes through for Fraser Forster. Get this from Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Berdeglimt 2. And Philip Zinkernagel, who you might remember had a loan spell at Nottingham Forest a couple of seasons back, has given the Norwegian side the lead. Manchester United 1, Berdeglimt 2. Here, we thought we had the same scoreline, but it is in fact 1-1. After El Shaarawy's goal was ruled out for a close offside. Forster wanted all the time in the world, playing out from the back. He just had enough. He was able to get the ball away. Kone playing it forward, and then getting it back in the midfield and battling with Kulusevski. Roman not playing like a side bereft of confidence with the poor form that they've been in this 13-game winless streak on the road. And it's been a very assured performance from them after the early setback. Zeki Celik, here's Dybala, who's really making them tick. And has scored in the final of this competition a couple of seasons ago. Out to Angelino, long ball flighted in from him. And Celik chased after it and ended up almost with his legs crumpled by the hoardings behind the goal. Spurs took the resulting goal kick really quickly and get it out towards Son.
I mean, what I'm finding difficult to understand is Tottenham have got two players on the flanks, albeit the fullbacks obviously invert, but still they've got two players out wide. Yet it's Angelino and Celik that have got all the space in the world.
Son bringing it forward, the score of the Spurs goal. And towards Archie Gray. Right-footed in-swinging delivery from him. Goalkeeper's come out and it's got stranded. It's headed high up in the air. Kulusevski trying to take it on. And then a shot comes in from distance. That one was blocked. Came back out for Son's overhead kick attempt. That one also is blocked. Now, I think there were claims that Angelino on the line might potentially have used his arm in saving that. But it goes down as a stunning save from the Serbian keeper, Mile Svilar, to keep it at 1-1.
No, I mean, he tucked his arms in like a jumping salmon on the line just to make sure they might have hit his arm, but his arm was right by his body. He took them right in to make sure and just dived towards the ball. Brilliant defending on the line to stop a certain goal.
Smoking the Spurs fans up. Their first corner, taken short by Kulusevski, gets it back, flags it in, and it's well claimed by Svilar. Under pressure from Ben Davies at the far post. And Roma will just draw a collective breath. That was better from Spurs. Kone will bring the ball forward now. Play down towards Zeki Celik on the right. Manchester United 1, Berdeglimt 2. 1-1 here. Ball headed away by Dragoshin. Played out to the Roma left-hand side for Angelino. Deflection on his cross and takes it into the midriff of Fraser Forster. Shamrock Rovers still trailing away to Rapid Vienna by a goal in the Conference League, incidentally, whilst Lan, who are in Slovenia tonight against Olympia, they're looking for their first point in the competition this season, and as things stand, they might get it. It's 0-0. Ball is with Dybala towards the edge of the box. Tucks it onto his left foot, 3 to beat, and then Forster gets down and gets a strong left hand to a stunning right-footed shot. He did well to even get one in from distance with 4 players converging on him. And that's a good save from Forster, his best moment so far.
Yeah, terrific save. Very, very strong left hand, down to his left-hand side, quickly to make the save. But that again came, that's now 3 times Hummels has stepped in front of Solanke when he's gone to get, I mean, what are they doing?
Well, it's going to be a yellow card for Kulusevski, and it may well be a yellow card for Paredes as well. It is. That all came after a foul by Paredes in the midfield. Kulusevski took exception to it, and then the two of them squared up to each other for a moment, and both find themselves in the book.
Yeah, ridiculous. No need to get yourselves yellow carded for something like that. And just going back to that, Dominic Solanke now 3 times that Hummels has stepped in front, has just been a little wiser to that pass that's going into his feet, and they've got on the attack because of it. And Roma have given it away. They were looking for Kone, they didn't find him, and the shot which came in from Sarr straight at Svilar. Loose ball played square, about 15 yards outside the penalty area. Looking for Kone, never come close to finding him. And Sarr running onto him, might have done better with the ultimate shot. Yeah, I mean, mean, it was a poor effort in the end. Weak strike with his left foot. Papsar does well to drive to the left-hand side and then look to strike with that left foot. Never got the contact. It was easy. Sviar in the Roma goal.
29 minutes gone here on TalkSport 2. It's a belting watch this. 1-1. Kulusevski has done really well to retain possession on the edge of the D. Finds Son. Defenders converging on him very quickly. Just trying to poke the ball towards the corner of the 6-yard box for Kulusevski's run, but Spiller was out very quickly and was able to make the save, gratefully pouncing on the ball. I think the only thing you can guarantee is that it's not going to be 1-1 for long. Certainly not going to finish 1-1. It wouldn't be at all surprised if it wasn't 1-1 going into half-time. Porro coming forward towards the edge of the penalty area. He just feigned to shoot. Plays the ball wide instead for Kulusevski. Onto his left foot, but he can't work the angle. Kone and Angelino forcing him back outside the penalty area. Gray will be able to take over. Now towards Son. Son on the corner of the penalty area once more. Gray looking up, curving a right-footed ball in. Easily headed away by Paredes. Coming back to cover was Bentancur. He can head it back for Dragoshin, and the Romanian plays it forward for Sarr. Better spell this for Spurs. Son in possession. Celik forcing him to go back for Sarr again. Now Ben Davies bringing it forward. Davies clipping it forward through the midfield to the edge of the centre circle. Porro sending it wide for Johnson. Johnson passing the ball past Ndicka. First time ball in wasn't the best. The second, a looping cross is comfortably played by the goalkeeper under pressure from Son at the far post. 1-1.
Yeah, poor. There's a couple of poor deliveries from Johnson now on that right-hand side. It's the one part of his game that he could certainly improve on, and he's young enough to do that. But this game has got a lovely mix of quality and jeopardy between the two sides.
Steve Ashton, part of your commentary team here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight. Spurs 7th and Roma 20th in the Europa League table at the start of the night. Spurs 6th in the Premier League, Roma 12th in Serie A. Bentancur has got a little bit of space with which to work. Hummels was backpedaling furiously there. Son's got it now, dragging inside the penalty area. Just trying to play a little wall pass with Kulusevski, but the return ball wasn't great. Then Bentancur fires it in, and Solanke's control was a little bit iffy. It bounced off him and he couldn't turn and get a shot in. Roma get a free kick, and Hummels has just pinged it. A flat delivery, some 60 yards upfield out towards the left-hand side for El Shaarawy. Running inside the penalty area, getting towards the byline, and Dragoshin eventually is able to poke it away after good covering initially from the retreating Porro. Spurs work it wide out towards Johnson. He wins a throw, but the omnipresent threat is there of Roma on the counter-attack.
Well, it is. As long as a Roma attacker just stands really wide, then they'll be able to get the ball, because Porro and Gray are so narrow, and Son and Johnson aren't necessarily going very deep to defend, so all that space out wide is there for Roma.
So does there need to be a fine-tuning of the way that Ange set up the fullbacks?
Certainly. Either they have to drop and allow the wingers to invert, or the wingers have to just drop 5 or 10 yards to just show Roma that you can't just easily hit that ball into the space. You've got to try and take it over the top of us. It's just a positional shift, I would say, for the wingers, if that was the case.
Sarr was on his heels there as a throw came in from Porro, and he just stood waiting to receive it, but Mancini stepped up to make sure that he couldn't. Sarr does get it now. Mancini's out of position, and Sarr has pinged one 40 yards upfield for Kulusevski, who will get it and run at Hummels, and he's got it inside the area, and it is fired in by Johnson. It's a brilliant goal. Spurs lead again. Magnificent counter-attack. Out towards Kulusevski, still have plenty to do, and he waited, and he waited, and he just led the ball inside the penalty area for Johnson's run, who stepped onto it and passed it into the bottom left-hand corner. And Spurs lead by 2-1.
Elite level quality quality from Dejan Kulusevski on this left-hand side. When he broke down that side, he took 3 or 4 very important looks. It's so important when you're wide that you get that head up and you look for the darting run. I talked about Brennan Johnson's poor quality from his own deliveries, but I'll tell you what he has got. He's got great movement and great acceleration when he makes that sort of run, whether it's to the back post or this time to the penalty spot. And talk about crispness when it came across. Side foot, firm, along the floor, no thrashing at it, just passed it into the back of the net, made it look really easy.
9th goal of the season for Tottenham's leading scorer, the 3rd that he's scored in this European campaign, having netted against Karabag and Ferencváros. And we've been quick to praise the way that Roma's centre-halves will push forward and try and reach situations in the midfield. Hummels has done it, Mancini did it there, but that was the root of the problem as far as Roma were concerned, because as soon as he then lost it, having stepped forward, they hit the gap that he had left.
And they don't look particularly comfortable when they end up out wide 1v1 against this Tottenham attack. And it's Angelino on that far side that just doesn't track the run either.
And now Kulusevski's got it again, and he's hit the post, and then it's blazed over the bar, and the follow-up by Son. And he should be 3. He's just driven forward, Kulusevski, and they were backing off him, and they invited him to shoot. And he hit it across the face of the goalkeeper, and it smacked back off the face of the right-hand post, straight to Son, who's 9 yards out, right in front of goal, and he's lifted his head and blazed it over the bar.
Well, there's plenty of questions being asked in the Roma defence, because they let Kulusevski go right into the penalty area and take the strike, left-footed. It's just that it's arcing away from the goal, which then just takes it into the post rather than into the inside netting. It comes back, Johnson's not read it, it's come to Son, and you just think he's the man. He's just going to side foot this into the top corner, and in the end, because there was bodies in front of him, he probably just thinks, I've got to smash it into the roof of the net. Gets too much on it. It's a terrible miss from Son.
2-1 to Spurs. It really could be 4-3 either way from what we've seen through the opening 36 minutes here on TalkSport 2. You're listening to Spurs against Roma in the Europa League. Our coverage brought to you with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Archie Gray in the left-back position for Spurs. Down towards Davis, who will clip it forward. Chested down by Paredes. Kulusevski's in there strongly. Can divert it back into Roma territory. Mats Hummels is there to mop up, and he'll play it forward towards Kone. Kone to Paredes, back for Evan Ndicka, who's playing the 250th game of his career today. A man that won the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt back in 2022 in that final in Seville, when Oliver Glasner's men beat Rangers. Rangers in action themselves tonight, and they lead by a goal to nil in Nice. Czerny's 8th goal of the season. Nice 0, Rangers 1, and that would take Rangers, as things stand, up to 10 points. Spurs, as things stand, would have 12. Manchester United would have 6 from 5 games, as it stands right now. There's still 3 games, 3.5 games to go, so the actual positions within the league table are, they're not academic, of course, but they're still illustrative rather than anything else at the moment. But Spurs 4th, Rangers 9th, Manchester United 18th out of the 36 Europa League candidates. As things stand right now, it will all change. 7.5 minutes to go in this hugely enjoyable first half. Spurs have a free kick over on the far touchline. And when we finish tonight, we'll be back in Christchurch for day 2 of the first test. New Zealand resuming on 319 for 8. And England hoping to wrap up the tale pretty quickly and then have a go themselves. The second day of the first test live here on TalkSport 2. And the first ball will be bowled around 10 o'clock. Spurs have a throw. Taken over on the far touchline, back towards Pedro Porro. Bentancur laying it back. Kulusevski's just gone out of the right-hand touchline for a moment. The ball is with Dragic. Romania playing it forward. Touch from Gray on the half turn is good. He's got it wide out towards Bentancur. Back from him to Porro. Porro towards the halfway line. Ben Davies is brought into play. Davies will just get it forward towards Sarr. Sarr coming through the midfield to Bentancur, then to Davies. And now out towards the right-hand side again. 2 goals in 3 minutes for Rangers. Diomande has scored the second. Nice 0, Rangers 2. That's Diomande's second goal of the campaign after Cherney's opener. Fraser Forster with the ball at his feet inside the Spurs penalty area. And he just played it towards Sarr on the edge of the D. Sarr couldn't possibly see what was coming in behind him, hurriedly scooped it away. Spurs get it forward and find Solanke, and he'll be able to roll it down the right-hand touchline for Porro, and then Solanke really put the afterburners on to make his way forward. Kulusevski's got it, Solanke waiting on the edge of the box, Kulusevski trying to work the angle himself, plays it back for Sarr. Now everything is open up on the right-hand side of the area. Johnson with a curling effort, deflected, finds Son with a curving effort, and that is well saved by Spiller. Got a strong left hand to it, tips it around the post for a corner.
Well, again, I wonder whether Son would take this volley on first time on his left foot, but the ball was spinning wickedly, so he took a lovely control with his left foot, got it onto his right, he used Mancini as a shield, whipped it round the outside of his left leg. Sviat with a magnificent save with his left hand, because he wouldn't have seen that till late because of Mancini being there.
Well, he's made 2 good saves. Angelino's cleared one off the line. Roma have had a goal disallowed for a very marginal offside. It's not been short of entertainment to warm you on a very brisk November night. Spurs with the corner, which is their second. 2-1 they lead. Ball swung into the edge of the 6-yard box, and Dick is there to head it away. Goes back out to the right-hand side of the penalty area again. Back for Kulusevski. Kulusevski's got a lot of traffic between him and goal. Son appealed away to the edge of the penalty area, waiting for the pullback. El Shaarawy got that away and has stayed down, holding his ankle, picking himself back up now because he was playing everyone on side. Right footed shot comes in from Porro from distance. Might just have been creeping wide, but dived down to his left and made a comfortable stop anyway.
Yeah, whenever Roma are looking to defend, they're just dropping too deep too quickly. It means that Tottenham are very easily able to play in it around the penalty area and look to get their shots away, and Kulusevski's able to take the ball into his feet without much pressure. A little too deep at the moment, Roma.
Dick has given it away as he played it forward straight to Bentancur. Kone then physically manhandled the Uruguayan, gave away a free kick. Spurs in a hurry to take it. Solanke with quick feet trying to get past Hummels. Solanke ended up on the deck. Hummels disdainfully waves him up, and the referee says there was no foul. A passage of play that ends up with Roma winning a throw. Now don't forget, Trans-Europe Express returns this Saturday evening from 9 o'clock. Danny Kelly and Andy Brassel will be diving into all the reaction from across the continent to the major results in the Champions League over the last couple of nights, the Europa League as well. Trans-Europe Express with Danny and Andy Brassel from 9 o'clock this Sunday night over on Talk Sport. And of course they'll be having a look at all the domestic action across the continent this coming weekend as well. 3 to go to half-time. 2-1 Spurs lead. Son with a 5th-minute penalty, and Dicker with a looping header from a free kick made it 1-1. El Shaarawy had a goal disallowed 2 minutes later, as Roma thought they were 2-1 up. Now it's Spurs that lead 2-1 after Kulusevski with a beautiful weighted ball inside the penalty area, which was stroked home by Johnson for his 9th goal of the season. 2-1 to Tottenham. They've already beaten Karabag and Ferencvaros and AZ of Alkmaar in this run. One blemish coming in Istanbul against Galatasaray last time out. Roma held at home by Bilbao. They lost at Elfsborg, beat Dinamo Kiev 1-0, and then got a 1-1 draw against Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium last time out. 5 points in their 4 games coming into this. Here's Son coming forward for Spurs. Space to his right-hand side. Porro trying his luck. It's blocked. Comes it back out for Sarr. Sarr will lay back for Dragusin. Davies, the only outfield player deeper than him, is the next player played in. Now it goes from Son into the feet of Kulusevski, and Son will get it back, and he'll go inside the penalty area, drops his shoulder, decides to try and take on Ndicka on the outside. Couldn't find a way through, pulls it back for Kulusevski. Kulusevski, right-footed curving effort. Spiller at full stretch, might just have had it covered. It's whistled wide.
Well, Well, and Dicker has watched the videos. He's seen Son step over, his favoured step over at times. That right foot over, drag it onto his left foot and take the strike on. He just read it perfectly. He just let Son do the first step over and then stepped across to block the opportunity for Son. And then when it came to Kulusevski, not expecting him to go on to his right foot, of course. But he's got the ability to, narrowly wide.
So 2-1 Tottenham lead. Davis stepping up towards halfway. Good header from him. Forward from Son. Just given a little bang in the rib cage there by Mancini off the ball. No complaints from the South Korean. Bentancur finds Dragashin well inside his own half. Forward to the retreating Johnson. And Spurs were the ball errantly through the midfield. Porro had made a run from right back to almost the centre forward position, and they looked to try and find him and couldn't. So Bentancur had to try and negate the Roma counter-attack, which he's cynically done by kicking Paredes.
But they're the risks that this Tottenham team take under Ange Postecoglou. They were actually backpedalling, and Porro went the other way. They're going back in towards where he should be defending, and actually he runs the opposite way into the forward position.
Free kick bent inside the penalty area. Hummels with a looping header. High and wide in the top left-hand corner, but again, first contact for a Roma player from a Roma set piece.
Yeah, he's looking across, hoping for the flag to come up, because it's a poor header in the end from Hummels. He's unmarked. There's not that much pace on the ball. He just gets it wrong.
Paredes. Forward towards the edge of the penalty area, and then as it's clipped back in, it went behind Dovbyk and too far ahead of Dybala. And goes out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Fraser Forster. He's just struggled in the early days of his Roma career. 2 sub-appearances before today for Mats Hummels. He scored an own goal in one. He didn't play great in the other, and then has given away a penalty early on tonight. When you've got 670 games behind you, it just, I suppose, gives you a little bit of credence that things will come good.
But it was why he was eventually left out of the Germany squad, because just started to look like he was creaking a bit as a centre-back, and then kind of had that fantastic season with Dortmund. And obviously got the move to Roma. He's not the formidable force that he once was, that's for sure. One of the very best in his day.
Which of us are, Dean? 2-2. Manchester United have equalised at home to Werder Glimt. Rasmus Højlund's third goal of the campaign. 2-2 there. Again, that United scored in the first minute of the game, and they've scored in first half stoppage time as well. Continues to be live on TalkSport. Just coming up to half time. We've got 4 minutes to play at the end of this first half here. Son in possession, but deep inside his own half. Oh, great little touch. He ends up getting the free kick. Mancini has body checked him, and Son goes down holding his face. I think he got a face full of shoulder, but just got the ball with his right foot and lent it from his right to his left and swiftly back again. And then he's helped back to his feet by Dybala with one eye shut and the other wide open like a cartoon character, but just ended up getting a little bit dazed. He's absolutely fine. And it's still 2-1 to Spurs deep in stoppage time. Ange is cutting quite a formidable figure on the edge of the technical area at the moment, pushing and shoving and gesticulating, pushing and shoving thin air, I hasten to add. He's not in confrontation with anybody, but he's really gesticulating to his Spurs players, wanting the ball to be moved much more quickly than it is, seemingly. And Dicker and Kone get it forward, and El Shaarawy's got it played down the touchline. The retreating Porro can mop up for Spurs. 2-1.
Well, he wants positivity from his team. That's what he likes to see. If you're going to allow the fullbacks to get so high, you want it to be moved quickly.
Spurs with one last attack in this first half. Son's got it from Kulusevski, wins the corner off the retreating Mancini.
Just interesting, isn't it, to look at the two sides and the chances that have been created in this half, yet Dovbyk and Solanke have not been involved at all.
Corner for Spurs, their third, taking short to Sarr. It is half-time at Old Trafford, 2-2. Bentancur, Archie Gray, out to the Tottenham right here. Pedro Porro's got it. Johnson peels away. Faced up by Angelino, who just works the ball square for Porro and then gets it back. Now it goes back towards halfway. Dragoshin, Ben Davies still forward, so Sarr's just dropped in alongside Archie Gray with Dragoshin at the moment. And now Ben Davies comes back and takes up his more customary station. Spurs still in possession, almost able to squeeze the ball through for the run of Gray down the right-hand side of the box. Kone saw him coming, and that's the end of the first half, which has been very easy on the eye. Spurs lead. I think that the advantage is probably deserved, Dean Ashton, but there have been times when Roma have been the better side through that first 45 minutes. But overall, Spurs probably deserving the advantage. Svilla's made a couple of excellent saves. They've cleared one off the line, but there's always the threat from something coming the other way for the Giallorossi.
There is. They've shown their quality at times, Roma, and they were gaining confidence in the middle part of that first half. But either side of that, Tottenham were excellent. They broke when they won the ball back. Kulusevski's been outstanding once again in that number 10 role, linking everything, being part of everything, delivering wide when he's needed to, and delivering a fantastic assist for Brennan Johnson's goal. But there's still work to be done, and that's why Ange, I think, was so animated on the side, because he knows they could have been further ahead, and they should be. Son gave them the perfect start from the penalty spot after a foul by Hummels on Sarr, and Dicker equalised with a looping header on 20. El Shaarawy then had one disallowed for offside just moments after that. Johnson giving Spurs the lead. They could have a bigger advantage, but they are 2-1 up at half-time, and the whole of the second half will come very shortly. Let me tell you the other Europa League scores across the continent. Braga 2, Hoffenheim 0. FCSB, the club formerly known as Steaua Bucharest, 0-0 with Olympiacos. Ferencváros lead Malmo 2-1. Manchester United 2, Bodo Glimt 2. After Højlund's equaliser right at the end of the first half. Garnacho had given them a first-minute lead, but they then went from 1-0 up to 2-1 down. It's 2-2 at the break. Midtjylland 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 1. Rangers now 3 up at Nice. That's half-time, but Igamane has added a third. Czerny, Diamande, Igamane, 3 goals in 13 minutes for Rangers, who are 3 up away to Nice. Real Sociedad 0, Ajax 0, Slavia Prague 1, Fenerbahce 1, Twente 0, Saint-Gilloise 1, and Spurs lead Roma by 2 goals to 1.
TalkSport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League. Europa League live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Okay, Mum, Dad, you're in our room. We're in Jess's room. Jess, Daisy, Sophie and Layla, you're in Daisy's room.
Yes.
Nan, you're in the spare room.
Good.
Michael, Mickey, you've won the sofa.
Oh, cool.
Uncle John, you're in the living room floor. Auntie Trish and Uncle Colin, you're in the utility room. Pete, you're in the shed.
Oh.
Big festive get-together coming up? Better get a travel lodge. Find king-size comforts up and down the country at travellodge.co.uk.
This Black Friday, get sorted for the festive season with EE Broadband. You'll pay nothing up front.
What? Nothing?
Not a thing. Plus, it's ultra-fast, full fiber, so you'll get speeds of 150 meg per second.
So I can stream festive tunes while I game with my mates.
And I binge Christmas films.
Yes, yes, and yes. And it's powered by BT. So switch today. It's easier than ever before. Available until the 12th of December.
New customers, 24 months, 43.7% UK availability. Terms apply.
Forceps. Pliers. Spanner. Mr. Johnson, I'm glad to say your dishwasher is going to make it.
Oh, that's a relief.
Got a home emergency? With British Gas Home Care, we can fix boilers, plumbing, electrics and even kitchen appliances pronto. Search British Gas Home Care to find out more. T's and C's apply. Kitchen appliance cover sold separately. Visit britishgas.co.uk.
Meet Sage Copilot, your new AI productivity assistant that automates tasks to keep your business running smoothly.
Copilot, help me pay my suppliers this week.
So, if you're a barber like Alfie, it could mean spending more time on what really matters, like more back and sides for his customers.
Oh, perfect. Cheers, Alfie.
Small businesses could save 4 days a month on financial admin. Search Sage Copilot to get early access today. Sage, helping business flow.
Where can you get the latest breaking sports news delivered with the laser-like accuracy of Michael Van Gogh? And hear passionate opinions debated with the confident dexterity of Virgil van Dijk.
The Liverpool fans celebrate.
Answer on the radio show that's got the nation's sports fans buzzing like a Van de Graaff generator. Early breakfast with Shabana Hearn. Weekday mornings from 5 on Talk Sport with Adrian Flux Van Insurance. Insurance for the individual. Search Adrian Flux Van Insurance to find out more.
TalkSport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
Game night. The goals are calling.
Oh my goodness!
Tomorrow, exclusive full match commentary of Brighton versus Southampton.
Two in 2 minutes!
Kickoff 8 p.m.
On TalkSport.
On DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker.
Oh, what a finish!
The Europa League live on TalkSport 2.
Morrow for Spurs, pulling it back here. That could well be a penalty. And the referee says no. And he's having another look at the incident as Hummels just comes across. And I think he's going to overturn it. He is. Penalty to Tottenham. Son running up, right foot in and in. Beautifully taken penalty, driven into the bottom right-hand corner with aplomb. Paredes is in there as well. Spurs trying to keep a high line. And it's a brilliant header in for 1-1. And Dicker coming to meet it. And a little flick looping header over Forster. Clipped over the top. And a right-footed volley goes into the bottom right-hand corner. And they've turned it around. And now the referee has ruled it out. It's an offside. Kulusevski, who will get it and run at Hummels. And he's got it inside the area. And it is fired in by Johnson. It's a brilliant goal. Spurs lead again.
Elite level quality from Dejan Kulusevski.
So 2-1 Tottenham lead at half-time. There have been a myriad of other chances as well. But Spurs with the advantage, the odd goal in 3 and good value for it. Over 45 minutes, Dean Ashton. But what will the gist of Ange Postecoglou's half-time team talk be right now? What does he need to see more of? What does he need to see less of in the second half?
Well, I think at times some of the build-up has been a little bit slow from the back, and I think that's what he was shouting at, is if you're going to commit the full-backs high and narrow into that midfield area, he wants things to be played quickly to make use of that overload. If not, and they lose the ball, then that space is out wide for Roma to exploit. And again, you know, he'll be really pleased with what they've created. And again, he'll probably just think, we need to be more clinical. We've been good, we're winning the game, but again, our standards are here, and it needs to still be risen and take the great opportunities that they've had. That'll just be a little frustration. Other than that, I think he'll be quite happy.
So Spurs leading by 2 goals to 1. We'll bring you the second half very shortly. Manchester United 2-2 with Bodo Glimt, and Rangers 3 up away to Nice. Earlier today in the Conference League, Hearts beaten 2-0 by Cercle Bruges. TNS lost 1-0 at home to Jurgården. Chelsea won 2-0 at Heidenheim in the game between the two sides who had a 100% record up to that point. And Kunku's 11th of the season, Mudrik's 3rd. Cassidy sent off for a second yellow card very late in that game. But Chelsea top of the Conference League as things stand. And Rapid Vienna leading Shamrock Rovers by a goal to nil in the Conference League at half-time. Larn 0-0 away to Olympia. And we'll keep you updated with all of the goals in the second half. A reminder that Manchester United Bodo Glimt continues live over on Talk Sport. Now elsewhere, it was announced earlier today that Frank Lampard would take charge of Coventry. And Talk Sport's Adrian Clark was able to speak to him about the challenges of taking over from Mark Robbins.
Big boost to Phil. Did the prospect of sort of following Mark Robbins make you think twice about applying, and does it add any more pressure?
Well, I don't know. What I have got is a lot of respect for him and the job he did. I actually used to cross paths with Mark a bit when I was actually managing the Derby, and was always very polite, always very respectful. So a really good football man who did a great job here. So I'm not sitting here to try and play myself off against him, tell I'm going to do these great things. I think he's probably a good sign of a good manager who's a manager that's left good roots for you to try and continue in your own way. So I'm very thankful for the work he's done here. I've got complete respect. I need to earn my respect through the work that I do. Simple as that. I'm quite humble about that. I'm not coming here as some kind of unveiling. This is, shouting from the rooftops what I want to do. I want to get to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you haven't picked your first starting 11 yet, but some of the fan base have been sceptical about the appointment. What would you say to those that are sort of saying that they're not sure how good you are as a manager? What would you say?
No, listen, they're entitled to their opinions. I've got no worries about that. I think in the modern day, if you become a manager, you can't be too prickly. You can't probably listen to a lot of that. So thanks for telling me. But but it's a serious fact that in this job you are held up to high account even before you start the job. That's the reality of it. I've got no problem with that. I've been used to that as a player for many years and as a manager and working in a job. I have a confidence in myself, and I want to show how well I can do the job. I've also had a lot of support and found out that there's a lot of Coventry fans where I didn't even know in the last 2 or 3 weeks down in London, walking down the King's Road in certain areas. So it was a big, another realisation of the history of this club and the strength of its fan base. So they can't all love me. They probably never all will love me, but I'll do my best to bring them the team they want, and then maybe they'll sort of like me.
And that's Frank Lampard, the new Coventry City boss, speaking to TalkSport's Adrian Clark. And don't forget, TalkSport's EFL action continues tomorrow night here on TalkSport 2 with a small matter of Sheffield United against Sunderland, 2 of the top 3 in direct confrontation. Adrian Durham in the chair for that's here on TalkSport 2. Over on TalkSport tomorrow, it's Brighton against Southampton, our 150th game of the season, and we'll be into the 200s by the time 2025 comes around, because we've got 50 live games in December, including all 10 of the Boxing Day Premier League fixtures. That's coming up over your festive period here on Talk Sport. 8 of those 10 games, we've got 10 live commentaries on Boxing Day South, 8 from the Premier League, and then 2 other Boxing Day fixtures which have been moved forward to the 27th. That's all to come. Second half of Manchester United against Bodo Glimt over on TalkSport. Second half of Spurs against Roma to come here on TalkSport 2. The game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Just chatting to a Spurs fan there. He delighted with what he's seen so far, and still eulogising about the weekend win, and happy with so many aspects of what he's seen. They're favourites to win this competition, Dean Ashton. Would you have them as favourites?
I think they would have to be in the top 3. When you look at the quality that runs through this Tottenham side, you would have to say so. But it's a competition that's not easy to win, and so far they've looked like they're going to cruise through, but then once you get into the knockout stages, of course, then that's where the inconsistencies we've seen of Tottenham could come to bite. But I talked about how much improved I think Tottenham have been, and again, I think with every month that goes by, we see more and more little glimpses of the quality of what the manager wants and how it really is starting to work in terms of chances created, goals scored. They look like a team that's going to score against anybody. That's such a great quality to have, and if they can continue to defend properly, and that's the only thing I think, shutting teams out alongside some of the fantastic attacking play that they've got, they are going to be favourites in a lot of competitions.
I mean, they've now scored 37 goals in the Premier League and the Europa League combined in 16 and a half games. That's nearly 2.5 goals a game, which is a stunning return. And if they can keep that going for the remainder of the season, they are going to be there or thereabouts.
But what I would say about that is that's not them being super efficient. That's actually them missing a lot of chances but still getting that amount of goal. That's why I think there's still a big improvement, and that's why Tottenham supporters should be encouraged with what they're seeing, knowing actually there's still another level we can get to. You've still not got your centre forward really up to speed, I would say. Dominic Solanke doesn't look like the player yet that I think he could become, and the threat that he should become. He's not been involved in the game again in this half. There's been a lot of games I've watched where halves of football have just passed him by, and he's not been involved in the big moments of the game. And speaking as a former centre forward, that can still be improved on too.
There's not an awful lot of competition with Richarlison being injured at the moment, but you could play Werner there, you could play Son there. There are plenty of other kind of mix and match options that potentially Ange Postecoglou could look at. But
I think he loves his work rate. I think he loves that player leading the line, and actually I think he wants to try and play him as much as he can into the form that he probably sees on the training pitch. But a little bit more, I want to see him being the person that the chances fall to, as well as the others.
6 goals in 16 games for Dominic Solanke, who's just made his way out onto the field here. This is how Spurs are lining up. Forster in goal, Porro, Dragoshin, Davis and Gray. Bentancur anchors the midfield. Johnson, Kulusevski, Sarr and Son. And Solanke leading the line. On the bench, Udogie, King and Hardy. Bissouma, Bergvall, Williams, Barnett. Madison, Olasesi and Werner, with Whiteman and Austin as the substitute keepers. Roma are going to be making a change ahead of this second half, and Matthias Sule is coming on to replace Paulo Dybala. Dybala had an excellent start of the game, faded a little. I can only imagine that that's a concern over his fitness. Sule on, an Argentinian 21-year-old who signed from Juventus in the summer. He's just scored the 1 goal for the Giallorossi so far, but he gets a chance to impress for 45 minutes here. Spurs in all white, kicking from left to right in this second half, and Roma in their crimson shirts with the gold trim. Long ball that is launched forward from the kickoff, straight out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Spiller, who's impressed so far, the Roma goalkeeper. Roma 4 points behind the top 8 in the Europa League. Only 1 clear of the bottom 12, which would spell elimination, and as a consequence, they're not really in a position that they can drop too many more points over the course of the next 3.5 games. Currently find themselves 24th, and you've got to finish in the top 24 to stay in Europe. Here's Kulusevski on the edge of the penalty area, out towards Porro. Porro will get to the ball down by the byline, flashes across in towards the near post, and it's slammed away high up in the air by Hummels. And then running round it, Bentancur's got it, will play it back inside his own half for Dragoshin. And now Ben Davis works it out towards Archie Gray. And the Tottenham left-back plays it forward for Son, who controls it with his first touch, and it just sat up underneath his feet for a moment. He had to just dig the ball back to Ben Davis, who was caught in 2 minds and very nearly caught in possession as a result of that, but he found Sarr. Sarr withstands the challenge coming in on him and works it back to Davis, and now to Forster.
I talked about Kulusevski in that first half and the quality that he's been showing and been Tottenham's best player this season. What he's really clever at playing in that 10, and because of the inverted fullbacks, is when Porro or Gray goes on one of those runs and maybe takes the attention of a Roma defender, he then finds the space to be able to receive the pass.
Now Sharawi with a lofted ball out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area. Play back, Mancini crosses it in, headed away by Porro. Son chests it down, tries to instigate a counter-attack but can't. Mancini still forward from centre-half as Roma continue to ask questions with Celik, the right-back, out towards Sule, whose ball in is deflected. He'll get it back again and then flick it out towards the right-hand side once more. Low-driven ball to the edge of the penalty area. Kone was waiting for it to come his way. It didn't. Had his pocket picked. And here comes the counter-attack. 5 against 2 for Spurs. Solanke to Kulusevski. Right-hand side of the penalty area. Waited too long. Then the ball comes back for Johnson, who thrashes it over the bar.
Perfect example of a lack of clinicalness from Tottenham Hotspur. As you said, 5v2. Actually, Solanke picked the right pass in the end. It was just that Kulusevski, because it was on his right foot, didn't look comfortable. Took too long. Hummels excellent with the sliding challenge. But again, you've got to, at this level, you've got to make use of those sort of opportunities. That can be 3-1. That can be a little bit more of a relaxed state.
Well, they just can't put the game to bed at the moment, Spurs. Dobbik. Played out to the Roma right-hand side for Celik. And the Turkish international, who won a French league title in his days with Lille, will work the ball down towards the corner flag, but he's lost it. And Davis clips it away out towards the far side, where Sarr, knowing that the ball was just about to go over the line, or probably had gone over the line, volleyed it high up in the air. He's trying to waste a little bit of time. But with the multi-ball system, it probably only took a couple of seconds off the clock. Angelino then plays it forward. Spurs felt that one had curved out of play. Nothing given. And then Kulusevski has kept it in, and I thought that one went out as well, but play goes on. Porro looking long for Solanke, but out comes the goalkeeper Svilar, and he can sweep away from the edge of the D. 4 from him to Stefan El Shaarawy. Dobbik making an early run forward. Kone with a wonderful crossfield ball, great shape on it, and towards Celik on the right-hand side of the penalty area, who's just onside, I think. Little reverse ball from him, flagged it inside the box towards El Shaarawy, volley clear, and then a right-footed attempt from the substitute Sule from distance goes way wide.
Yeah, it was good work again, but that switch is on so easily. It was a brilliant pass from Kone, like you said. The direction of the pass was just absolutely perfect to keep it away from Archie Gray. But that is too easy for Roma to be able to switch the play and then have a dangerous attack because of it.
Manchester United back ahead at Old Trafford. Scored early in the first half, scored early in the second as well. Manchester United 3, Bodo Glimt 2, and it's Rasmus Højlund again. 2 in 6 minutes either side of half-time for him to double the number of goals he scored this season. 3-2 to Manchester United, and it's live for you over on TalkSport. Mazraoui with an assist for both of those Højlund goals, incidentally. This one is 2-1. Spurs should have a bigger advantage than they've got. XG, they're 2 clear, 2.5 to a half, the XG at the moment. And probably a 2-goal advantage would be about right. Ball is played back for Svilar. That Rasmus Højlund goal under review. The VAR looking at it, so it might yet go back to 2-2. I understand it's a very close offside call. We'll let you know what the decision is. Bentancur playing it back towards Archie Gray, taking the ball so confidently. Then Kulusevski chipping one over the top. Son couldn't drag it into his stride under pressure from the retreating Celik. But it was another lovely ball from Kulusevski, who's a man, as you've been saying, Dean, right on top of his game at the moment.
He is. The pass was perfect for Son. He didn't actually see Mancini behind him, because if he'd have controlled it, he'd have been dispossessed anyway.
El Shaarawy, ball in from Angelino inside the penalty area. Dobbik trying to turn, sets it up for the shot from Sule, the substitute, which was going wide and was blocked anyway. And then Solanke comes back to try and win the ball back, and he got caught by Paredes, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Spurs. That Højlund goal does stand, and Manchester United are 3-2 up. Rangers 3 up in Nice, and Spurs 2-1 up here against Roma, as the live sporting action continues. And don't forget, as soon as we're done, we'll be down to New Zealand for overnight coverage of day 2 of the first test between New Zealand and England. Fraser Forster to take this free kick, about 8 yards outside his penalty area. The common thinking is that probably 16 points from your 8 games is going to get you through to the top 8, and then you miss the playoffs. If you get anywhere from 16 down to probably 9, you're going to stay in Europe, but you'll be in the playoff round. So Roma at the end of the night would have 5 points from 5 games if they can't find a way back into this. So it would be nip and tuck whether they made it or not. You've got Sporting Braga at home, AZ away, and Eintracht Frankfurt at home as their 3 remaining fixtures. They're in possession over on the far touchline and have won a free kick given away by Dominic Solanke. 8 goals second half here on TalkSport 2. Spurs 2, Roma 1.
Yeah, they've been dominant in the second half of Tottenham. And it's these sort of games and these sort of situations where I think, you know, you still want to see a little bit more mindset.
Dobbik's in, side puts it in for Kone, who is offside. Now, was that going in before Kone touched it over the line? It might have been.
Oh, I think it was. I think it absolutely was.
Actually, Dobbik is offside as well. He is
offside as well, but still, it's a really clever finish. It's going in. Kone just taps in, and then the assistant referee puts his flag up. It was a really good line from Tottenham. just used the 18-yard line as the guide. Not one of the players stepped away from that.
Spiller comes outside his penalty area. He was hoping that the ball would run in the box so he could drag it back in the penalty area. It didn't, and he just siphoned it away under pressure in time. El Shaarawy then wins it back in the midfield. Kone just lent into there by Bentancur, who has conceded a free kick. An equaliser in the Conference League for Shamrock Rovers. Their top scorer, Johnny Kenny. 18th goal of the campaign for the 21-year-old. Rapid Vienna 1, Shamrock Rovers 1, and that would take Shamrock up to 8 points. Still 0-0 for Larn in Slovenia away to Olimpia Ljubljana. Earlier wins for Chelsea and defeats for TNS and Hearts in the Conference League. Hummels gets it back to his goalkeeper. 2-1 Spurs leading. Ranieri standing pretty stationary on the edge of his technical area, but you can see that he is barking instructions. It's a lovely crossfield ball from Angelino. And towards Zeki Celik. Deflection on his cross, Dovbyk turns it in for 2-2, but again, the flag comes up, and that's 3 goals that they've had disallowed for offside tonight.
Well, once again, I don't know how many times Tottenham are going to allow Roma just to get the ball and switch the play, where they've got a free man who gets his head up and crosses it into the box. This is really, really tight. It's just whether, as he's leaning to make the run, Dovbyk, is it going to be his shoulder that's offside? It's going to be close.
It is going to be close. This might stand, conceivably. We've seen one quick replay of it, and I agree with you that some part of his body is offside, but I don't know whether it's an important part. It might just be his arm that is offside. It is really close. All he did was get a toe to the ball, toe poking it past Fraser Forster, who got a foot to it but couldn't keep it out. This Dovbyk goal might conceivably stand. Had one disallowed for a really close call in the first half against El Shaarawy. This one, I think, is even closer against Dovbyk. And the decision stands. It is the correct offside call, and they're still ahead, Spurs, 2-1. And it must have been millimetres. The Spurs lead. And the goal disallowed for Dovbyk. But 2 warning shots across the bow in the space of about 3 minutes for Spurs.
Well, again, when the ball's wide, if there's no pressure on the crosser, these players are good enough to pick a teammate out. And ultimately, they will say, well, it's our defensive line, it's what we work on.
El Shaarawy for Angelino, and they're claiming that they got him offside, but no flag comes up. Back for El Shaarawy. Paredes pinging it out towards the right. So when the ball is received over there by Celik, a chance for him to deliver. Porro can volley it away. Sarr can poke it forward. Solanke taking it on the turn. Just couldn't nudge it past Paredes, who he inadvertently fouled. Roma still got possession and are allowed to play on with Stefan El Shaarawy. El Shaarawy working back infield. Kone to his right-hand side for Leandro Paredes, who played in the 2020 Champions League final for PSG. The Argentinian playing the ball to his right for Mancini. Hummels has got it now to the Ivorian centre-half, Ndicka. Scored his first goal for the club in the first half. Kulusevski wins it back. Then the ball chipped back to him. And Ndicka just steps forward, chests it down, is able to bring it away. Spurs dominant for a lot of the first half, but they did have a 7 or 8 minute spell where Roma were the better team, and there's one that's coming to fruition now for the Giallorossi. Angelino rifling a ball in which is blocked. Then when he gets it back, it looks as though he might just have been pushed there by Porro. Ball is put out of play for a throw, and Angelino takes it quickly. Back from him to Ndicka in his blue boots. Hummels has got it now. Ball goes through the centre circle as he finds Paredes. Paredes turning, finding a little bit of space created by Mancini. And then Paredes plays it down towards Ndicka. Ranieri again, quite animated in his 24th managerial role, the 73-year-old. Previously in charge at Roma between 2009 and 2011. He had a shorter spell in 2019 and now back for more in 2024. The former Premier League title winner with Leicester. Free kick taken quickly by Mancini. Too quickly, actually, for the referees. She said that he wasn't ready. Now Mancini taking it quickly again, and he's pushing forward from centre half now and joining in the midfield, and that's helping Roma just exert a little bit of domination at the moment in that area. Sule out towards Celik, right-footed ball stood up towards the far post. Angelino coming in, and he's volleyed the ball into the ground. It's ricocheted up, hits the bar, and goes to safety for Spurs. Another let-off.
Absolutely. I mean, once again, ball wide, no pressure, decent ball in. The opposite fullback gets the opportunity. It's only the deflection that makes it go against the bar.
And now Kulusevski at the other end inside the penalty area. Too much on there for Johnson's run and through towards Svilla. And at the moment, it feels as though an equaliser's coming.
But again, it's identical to the first half, where all of a sudden Roma get good possession and are easily able to find a crossfield pass. And Spurs are gambling that they won't. And when they then counter-attack, what a run that is from Ben Davies.
And he's been fouled 6 yards outside the penalty area. And there are immediate complaints from Mancini that he dived, and also that they should have had a free kick earlier upfield. But it is a free kick to Spurs in a good position.
Well, he's watched enough of Gareth Bale. He must be able to copy him now and again. Gareth Bale-esque from Ben Davies.
You're listening to Tottenham against Roma in the Europa League. It's live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. We've played an hour. It's 2-1 to Spurs. How we've only had 3 goals tonight, heaven only knows. We could have had 8.
Easily. It's been, I mean, look, both teams have taken a lot of risk, and because of that, it's made for a terrific game.
Pedro Porro is the man that is sizing up this free kick. There are 4 in the Roma wall. Angelino stands, well, just in front of it. He's not going to be allowed to stay there. He's come back now and stands about 3 or 4 people away from the wall. Kulusevski is there as well, but it is Porro. Oh, he was close. He's just kissed the top of the bar on his way over with Svilla nowhere near it.
He just bites his lip in frustration, Porro, because he knows this would have looked gorgeous from his view, as he takes 2 steps and then just whips it up and over the wall. Svilla is there. I think, if needs be, would have without a doubt been able to dive and been across, but still, don't get much closer.
Rangers 4 up away to Nice now, with Nigamani scoring goals 3 and 4 there. His second and third of the campaign. Roma get it forward. They trail by 2 goals to 1. Stefan El Shaarawy. Now Paredes playing it back for Evan Ndicka. Back from him to Hummels. Hummels going out towards the right-hand side for Gianluca Mancini, who scored an own goal in the final of this competition a couple of seasons ago when Mourinho was the manager. Goes out to the right-hand side of the penalty area again. Low ball in towards the near post wasn't the best. Bentancur could get it away. Davies took his time in getting it further clear. Sarr can dig it out, and it's a great ball which just holds up with the top spin, and Solanke will be able to pick it up, and he's ridden the challenges, and the cavalry's arriving for him. Pulled back across the face of the 6-yard box. He was looking for Johnson, and it was a brilliant covering piece of defending from Paredes to slice it away out for a corner.
I can't do much more. It's a terrific run. It was a great ball from Sarr. It's a terrific run from Solanke. He just slows it down and says to old man Hummels, come on, have a little nibble. And as he did, he just dinked over the top of him, ran beyond, got to the byline, cut it back. He was there for Johnson just to tap in. It's actually really good defending in the end from Roma.
Spurs corner there first of the second half, taken short. Porro playing it in, travelling a long way through the penalty area. Shot on the turn from Ben Davies. Really high tariff chance as he pirouetted and swiveled and met it relatively cleanly, but still skied it way over the bar. 18 gone second half. Spurs 2, Roma 1. Nice 0, Rangers 4. Manchester United 3, Bodø/Glimt 2, live for you right now over on Talk Sport. But how can you turn your attentions away from this? Kulusevski bringing it forward. Ball ricochets out towards Son on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Back from him. Now, from distance to Gray, urged by a young Spurs fan behind us to switch it, which he did, but over Johnson's head and straight out of play for a goal kick.
I think that's Solanke's strength. I think he's shown that when he's got grass to run into, he's a willing runner, he makes intelligent runs. He almost, at times, I think, does too much to the detriment of actually what can be important, which is being in the right areas and being alive in the penalty area.
A Roma change will see Zeki Celik replaced by Nikola Zalewski, the Polish international. Zalewski ordinarily a left back, replacing Celik a right back, but he has gone out to the right hand side. So Zalewski on. That's Roma's second change. They took Dybala off at half-time, and Sule came on to replace him. Spurs yet to make a change. Work the ball forward now. Solanke looking for Kulusevski. Hummels winning it back. Dicker goes back for his goalkeeper. And a long ball forward from Spiller. Chased by Dovbyk, but he's offside again. And it's a free kick to Spurs.
And for any 35-year-olds thinking of emailing in Talk Sport, 35 isn't old, but it is in football terms.
35 really isn't old. It really isn't.
It is in football terms.
It used to be, but it's not anymore. Johnson will chase the ball forward. I see Jamie Vardy still going at 37. I wonder how he felt the other day. And it worked out that every outfield player that Chelsea had on the field up against Jamie Vardy was born after Vardy went to senior school. Now that'll make you feel old if you're playing. Particularly if some wisecracking commentator tells you about it. The ball is knocked away by Ben Davis. Mind you, I was at senior school when he was born, so who's the joke on? Here's Hummels playing it forward through the centre circle towards Paredes. Paredes to his left, and Dicker will get it forward towards Angelino. Back for Evan and Dicker again. Oh, he sold his man short, and Paredes used his experience just to be able to get there first when he looked second favourite. Now he comes forward towards Zalewski. Chance for Roma to deliver. And it's a good potent ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box, which is knocked away and goes out of play for a Roma throw. Mancini has caught the eye tonight in this marauding role that he has from the right of the three centre-halves. Really given the licence to go forward. Good crossfield ball finds Angelino from the dead ball line. He's pulled it back. Kone coming onto it, and he's rifled it just wide.
Well, there's so much space. I'd love to know what Porro and Gray actually feel about this, because they're so narrow. When they actually are back in a defensive shape, they're really, really narrow. They're really tight to Dragusin and Davis. But it means there's so much space out wide. This time again, Angelino gets down the left-hand side, cuts it back. It takes a deflection towards Kone, and he sees the side foot finish. He just gets the angle slightly wrong and puts it a couple of inches past the post.
He's been in good form and is now a French international as a result of that. He's won all 4 of his caps this season after his €20 million move from Borussia Mönchengladbach back in August. It's the 1 goal for Roma so far. He was very close to making it 2 there. 2-1 to Tottenham. We're exactly midway through the second half. Notable goal elsewhere in this competition. Sociedad lead Ajax by a goal to 0. They've just broken the deadlock. Remember, Rangers 4 up, Manchester United 3-2 up. And now some action on the Spurs bench, and we're going to see James Maddison come on. He'll replace Brennan Johnson. And Sarr will come off to be replaced by Yves Bissouma, who's on a yellow card actually as he comes on. So if he's cautioned tonight, then he will miss the trip to Ibrox in a fortnight's time. You won't, because we will have it live here on Talk Sport. Salamaker's coming on as well for Roma, replacing El Shaarawy. So El Shaarawy off, and Alexis Salamaker hasn't played since he got injured at Genoa back in September. A player who's in the Milan side that knocked Spurs out of the Champions League a couple of years ago, and he comes on. Quarter of the game to go. Spurs 2, Roma 1. When perhaps 6-4 would be a better representation of what we've seen. Such a good game. And Ndicka to Hummels. Back for Ndicka again. Clipped forward, left-footed. Headed down by Kone. Salamakers with a crossfield ball. Goes out towards the right-hand touchline. It's a nice first contribution from him, that. Mancini. Now Zalewski. Right-footed ball swept in by Soulé. Kone attacking it at the far post, can bring it down. The dreadlock Frenchman laying it back for Salamakers again on the edge of the box. Clipped in now by Ndicka, the centre half. Looping header, comfortably claimed by Fraser Forster as he stops it, just drifting into the top left-hand corner. 2-1 to Spurs.
I mean, look, it very much feels as if Roma are going to equalise if they continue to be given the amount of space that they are in wide areas. But at the same time, Tottenham could easily then just go up the other end on a counter-attack and put the game away. Again, it's just such a risky play that Tottenham are playing at the moment, rather than trying to dominate the game themselves and definitely get that third goal.
In the Conference League, Lan now trail in Slovenia by a goal to nil. They're still looking for their first point of this campaign, and they're losing against Olimpia Ljubljana by a goal to nil. Spurs get it forward with Son. Madison on the stretch, pokes it forward. Here's a chance for Solanke. Tipped over the bar. Well, he hit it left-footed, he hit it with ferocity, but it was a comfortable save. All the goalkeeper had to do was stick his hands up in front of his face. A square ball to Madison might have been a better option, but that's easy for us to say from up here. And you, as a part of the Strikers Union, may feel that he did the right thing anyway.
I'm never passing that, especially considering he's not had a sniff all evening, and that was his opportunity on his left foot. Decent strike, just straight at the goalkeeper.
Corner to Spurs, their fifth, taken short. And worked across the edge of the area for Porro, and he too has blazed over the bar.
Yeah, lovely bit of play from James Madison, getting it on the half-term, crisp pass into Porro. Gets out of his feet, and then his attempt is like a free kick, but just from a standing start. Just takes one step and looks to bend it free kick-like up and into the left-hand side top corner.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. 71 on the clock. Spurs 2, Roma 1. Goal kick taken by Miles Spilar, former Benfica keeper. Getting it over halfway. Salamakers wearing 56, going up for it, the Belgian, who's just come on. A nice crossfield ball for Angelino. Pulled back by him for Ndicka. Ndicka getting it forward, away from Salamakers. And it's very neatly fielded there by Bentancur, and a delicious little reverse flick. Ball up the touchline then. If they could have found Kulusevski, would have been a really dangerous one. Then as this worked for, Bentancur's gone straight through Salamakers. That's a poor challenge. Then as it comes in from the left-hand side, Forster comes out and is able to make a save on the edge of the 6-yard box. The play will now stop, and Salamakers will be able to receive some treatment. He is writhing in pain. It's a yellow card that has been shown. That's a really poor challenge from Bentancur.
It is. He's fully committed. Studs are showing. It's low on the foot/ankle. Quite sure from this distance, but Salamakis thinking, thanks very much. Just been out since September, and you've just wired into the inside of my ankle. Rodrigo Bentancur and Ranieri just giving the television sign for the referee to at least go and have a look at it.
Well, it's the VAR's call. He will be the man that is advising Glenn Niebuhr. It's the Dutchman Paul van Berkel who is the VAR tonight. Sol is over there. I beg your pardon. Son is over there. And he's speaking to Mancini. The two captains just in discussion about it. Yellow card has been shown to a member of the Roma technical staff. I think it's Paolo Benetti that has picked up that yellow card. Ranieri, enjoying the television sign, should have got a mandatory yellow card himself for that, truth be told. But I think has been excused it. It was a poor challenge. You can understand why. Ranieri was so frustrated. Yellow card shown to Bentancur. These are scores in the Europa League at the moment. Braga 2, Hoffenheim 0. The artist formerly known as Steaua Bucharest, 0-0 with Olympiacos, but they're down to 10 men. Ferencváros 4, Malmo 1. United 3-2 up against Werder Glimt, and it continues live on TalkSport. Michelin 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 2. Rangers 4 goals to the good in Nice. What a result that will be. Real Sociedad 1, Ajax 0. Slavia Prague 1, Fenerbahce 1. And 20-0, Saint-Gilloise 1. Spurs 2-1 up here. And in the Conference League, Lana goal down, away to Olympia. Shamrock Rovers 1-1 at Rapid Vienna, which would be a tremendous result if they can hold on there. Johnny Kenny with his 18th goal of the season to tie things up. Now the ball played forward, and Dobbik's offside. Hasn't been for 4 or 5 minutes. I suppose we were due one. Dragusin will knock it out of the right, and here comes Pedro Porro getting it forward again, and it's Paredes with a defensive header, well read by his goalkeeper Svilla, who scampered out of his 6-yard box and got his hands behind the ball and was able to bring it under control. 2-1 to Spurs, who led from a 5th-minute penalty when Son converted after a foul by Mats Hummels. And Dicker equalised. El Shaarawy had a goal disallowed for offside straight after that. Brennan Johnson put Spurs ahead on 34 minutes. We've seen goal line clearances, tremendous saves, goals disallowed for offside, including a very marginal one for Dobbik. Somehow it is still 2-1 as we go into the final 15 minutes. Kulusevski trying to nudge it to his right for Porro. Koney's going to be able to bring it away in the heart of his own half. Down towards Salamakers, who seemingly is okay after the heavy challenge on him from Bentancur. He thought he was fouled again there, but the referee didn't. Tells him to get on with it. Now Lucas Bergvall will be coming on for Spurs in a moment as they are poised to make another change. Mancini, did he get a touch on that? I thought he did. So did the Spurs fans at that end of the ground. It looked as though he just towed it over the line past Archie Gray for a corner. And the referee has put his hand up to apologise because he's been told that he got it wrong. And it is a corner, not a goal kick. And now the Roma players are angry about the decision, and Mancini is gesticulating down towards the corner flag on this near side. But Mabon Begi, the assistant referee from Sweden, saw the touch from distance, and it is a corner to Spurs. So we're going to see Bergvall and Werner come on at the next break in play. Spurs don't want to make the double change yet with the ball on the corner quadrant. 6 in the Roma penalty area to attack it, in towards the edge of the 6. Solanke going up for it. It's come off either him or Mancini, but after the debate about the last one, a goal kick has been given this time. Now the ball has gone out of play. Svilla has gone out to retrieve it from the right-hand side of the penalty area, and one of the Spurs players, I think it was Madison, stopped him doing that, and he's now being spoken to, and Spurs will make the double change. So we're going to see Bergvall and Werner come on. First player to come off is Son, and Rodrigo Bentancur will make way as well.
Yeah, again, just first of all giving players minutes that he would want to in Werner and Bergvall. Bit of protection for Bentancur after the yellow card, and Son all season has been protected at times too.
So Son coming off. There have been moments where he's been taken off the field and has visibly been upset. This isn't one of those. Werner on to replace him. And a few more minutes for Lucas Bergvall, who's started all 4 Europa League ties before tonight, but just being used off the bench this evening. Goal kick taken by Svilla. And Madison's going to be able to bring it forward. Left-footed crossfield ball, comfortably cut out by Kone. Kone then drives it straight over the top of Salamakers and out for a throw, which will be taken by Spurs. Roma had that really good spell of sustained possession and pressure. That's kind of fizzled out to Tottenham's credit over the last 5-6 minutes or so.
I mean, so similar to the first half, where Tottenham started really strongly, then they allowed Roma to have their 10 to 15 minute spell, where in the first half they scored and were very close to getting a second. And they've got away with it a little bit in this second half and not taken their chances again. And And look, there's still time in this game for Roma to score. And it would then, after being such a good performance, feel like they'd let themselves down.
Dragashin. Little flick from Basuma. Then gets the ball back from Porro. Rides the challenge of Hummels. Comes off Paredes. Solanke will chase after it, but excellent covering at the back by Dobvik, who's made his way back. Was playing at left back for a moment there. That's a really good industry from the Roma striker.
Is Hummels still sliding?
Just about. Pain to get back in. A long ball in from Kulusevski. And Spiller watches it sail over his head and go out of play. 2 on, 11 to go.
Yeah, not a good look that for Mats Hummels. Just sliding away in the midfield area when really he should just be keeping his position. That's the middle of those 3 centre-backs.
Well, it's been such a bizarre season for Roma so far. Already on their 3rd manager of the campaign. After Daniele De Rossi was sacked in September after they failed to win any of their first 4 games, and then Ivan Juric dismissed a fortnight ago. Ranieri looks as though he's going to be able to get a tune out of them. And it's not going to be dull and boring with him at the helm. It's Timo Werner. Chance for Spurs to bring the ball forward and try and make this game safe. Archie Gray on the overlap for him, gets it in, and a header cannons back off the bar from Solanke, and then his toe poked away.
Well, it's there for him. It's a really simple header that he makes more complicated than it needs to be. It's a great clipped ball from Archie Gray into that near post area, and he stoops down when he doesn't need to. I'm not quite sure why. That should just be headed down because he's above the ball, but he stoops and heads it upwards onto the bar.
Might get another chance here. Basuma trying to stand it up for him. He's actually gone deeper, looking for Werner. Half cleared. Madison urged to shoot as he picks it up. Resists the temptation. Out from him to Werner. Chipped inside the penalty area, and Dicker, and then volleyed right-footed towards goal by Porro, but this goalkeeper is going to need a better shot than that to beat him. And Spiller diving down and making a comfortable stop. Really nicely struck, but he didn't get the necessary direction to arrow it in towards the corner. 2 on with 9 minutes to go. Salamakis through the midfield. Crowd doing their bit to try and roar Spurs home now for what will be their 8th home win in 10 games in all competitions this season. Lost here to Arsenal and Ipswich, but every other game has ended up in a victory so far. This one might not yet. The ball is played forward towards Sule. And he just had it taken off his toes on the edge of the penalty area as it looked as though he timed his run to beat the offside trap. Ben Davies was there to mop up.
Well, he had. And if he wants to take this on his right foot, the chance is there. But he wants it on his left. So he cuts back inside and gets cut out by Archie Gray, who had covered. If he takes that onto his right foot, he's got the chance.
Paredes driving it in. Gray's there to head away again. It comes back out to Hummels, poking it forward. Mancini comes back from an offside position. That's the way that Roma are playing, that they're getting their centre-halves caught offside.
He has been a threat, hasn't he, from that right centre-back position. And Dicker has just stayed alongside Hummels and allowed Mancini to get forwards.
You're listening to Tottenham against Roma in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. One down to 10 men in their game in Slovenia after Sean Graham was sent off for a second yellow card. Olympia 1, Larn 0. Hummels driving the ball forward through the midfield to Kone. Madison forcing him to play it quickly. Played out towards Zalewski. Now Paredes coming forward. And Paredes' defensive abilities are just allowing Mancini that license to come forward. Paredes has won a free kick here for a foul by Bergvall. A free kick which is taken too quickly for the Swedish referee. So they'll spot it down and retake it again. Paredes. Little 1-2. Gets it back and then we'll play forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Now Zalewski. Zalewski turning it to the right-hand side of the box. And wins the corner. Still so much time in the The way that the chances have come with such regularity in this game. 6.5 to go. 2-1 to Spurs. Zalewski showing for the short one on the edge of the penalty area, but Werner's keeping an eye on him. It's going to be a direct ball inside the 18-yard box, and Bergval's there to head it away from the edge of the 6. And then an overhead kick attempt from Hummels, who came relatively close to getting it on target, but Forster would have had it covered.
No, he just didn't fully commit to the up-in-the-air overhead kick. He just kept that left foot planted on the floor, just arched back, and took the right leg straight and over the top. And really, that needed to be jumped up to get up and over the ball.
Poor header in the midfield from Bergval. Roma have got it back again. Angelino's inside the penalty area. A little bit too much on the cross. And Gray can head it away. Zalewski's going to be able to mop up, though. Goes back for Mancini. Back to Zalewski again on the Roma right-hand side. They look for an equaliser. His cross in. Did it take a deflection? Academic in the end, because Angelino's going to be able to keep it in. Plays it back for Ndicka. Another centre-half is making his way forward. He very nearly got the return ball from Salamakers. And then a tiring Kulusevski, beaten to it by Kone. Bergval comes in and looks as though he might have pushed his man to the ground. Plays allowed to continue. But Hummels wins it back from Maddison. And the ball goes out towards the right-hand side of the box again. Zalewski wants it on his left foot. Worked the angle, got the shot in, but it was well blocked by Gray. Comes back out for Salamakers. Nice have one back at home to Rangers, but still, the Gers leading 4-1. Angelino chipping it inside the box. Comfortably claimed by Forster. Now with 5 minutes to go, he'll make his way towards the edge of the penalty area, but there's no real thoughts of getting it out too quickly.
No, and of course we go back to the chances they've had and the chances that they've missed, Tottenham, which has meant that this last 10 minutes is a little nervier than it should be. Roma pressing hard to create chances.
Basuma's got it. He got the angle on the through ball for Bergval right, and Bergval then whacks it out towards Werner. Good ball to find him. The German inside the penalty area, but he couldn't work the ball past Spiller, with 2 coming into his right. And still Spurs haven't got it won yet. 2-1 they lead. Salamakers plays it forward, but is lost down towards Basuma. Ajax 2-0 down away to Real Sociedad 0. Manchester United still 3-2 up at home to Werder Glimt, live on TalkSport. Kulusevski on the right-hand side of the penalty area, working the angles, got it onto his left foot, didn't get the power in the shot, and Spiller can make another save.
No, he's good in 1v1 situations, is Ndicka. Reads it well, doesn't commit himself, and again just stepped across to take the sting out of that shot from Kulusevski.
Spurs XG now a fraction over 3.5. Roma's still a shade under 1. Tottenham have had 10 shots on target. Zalewski on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Ball works inside the box. Oh, Porro with a terrible defensive header. He's got away with it. He so nearly fell for Dovbyk. He's 8 or 9 yards out, and he's just cushioned a header back towards Forster, oblivious to who else was where. And Dovbyk very nearly got there first. And Porro sticks up a right hand by way of apology. That would have been a horrible way to concede a goal. Now Salamakers wins it back from Kulusevski. Salamakers to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Kone gets the ball across. Werner's back to defend and gets it away, but the offside flag belatedly, but I think correctly, comes up. Free kick to Tottenham, 15 yards from their dead ball line. 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time for them to hold on.
Just trying to be clever, wasn't he? Pedro Porro, just to cushion that back to Forster. But as every good striker should do, you should guess that that might happen. And that's exactly what Dovbyk did. He's really unlucky that he couldn't stretch to put it past Forster, because it was intelligent of him to even guess that that might happen.
Forster clatters the ball upfield, just getting it out of harm's way. Angelino's there. 2 Spurs players go for the same ball, and Bergval tackled Porro. Ball came off one of the pair and goes out of play. Throw taken by Roma. Paredes. A long early ball from him, looking for Zalewski, who who applauds the intent of the pass, certainly not the execution, because it sailed straight over his head. And out for a throw, which will be taken over on the far touchline. It's going to be a second defeat in a row at the start of the Claudio Ranieri reign, unless they can find a way back into it late on. But I gave you a few of the statistics. Possession almost dead level. 24 attempts to 15 in Tottenham's favour. 12 to 5 on target in their favour. XG nearly 3 goals better than the opposition. And yet we go into the 90th minute and Spurs, to an extent, are hanging on. Zalewski. Back towards the edge of the centre circle. Roma switch it out wide towards Angelino. Good run from Salamakers down the left-hand side of the box. Just smashing the ball with the outside of the right boot, but it was cut out. We'll get another chance after Ndika came forward and won it back. Back from him to Angelino. Now to Kone. Kone working it past the retreating Solanke. Leandro Paredes has got it. All of the centre halves are forward for Roma here. Only Paredes and Kone back. Everyone else gambling inside the penalty area. High ball stood up. Angelino with a header. It hit the nearest Spurs player. Had his arms down by his side, Pedro Porro. But it's come off him and gone out of play for a 90th minute corner to Roma.
Oh, it's making you squirm from a Spurs perspective. Camped in their own area. Loads of space wide.
In comes the corner to the edge of the 6-yard box. Hummels is attacking it, and it's out for another corner. Judged to have taken the deflection on its way through.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 5 minutes added time.
5 extra minutes. We're in them now. Salamakers with another corner. Off the top of Bergval's head. Roma then win the next one. Oh, what a save from Forster. That is a stunning stop. Right-footed volley from 10 yards out, met beautifully by Mancini, and Forster's made a sensational save to keep Tottenham's lead intact.
Well, he catches the volley absolutely flush, Mancini.
In comes the latest corner. Mancini going up for that. Bergval heads it away. Salamakers, reverse ball for Angelino, through a crowd and bundled in. And there is the equaliser that the last 10 minutes deserves. And it's Mats Hummels, the villain of the piece early on, who at the same end of the ground fires home a stoppage time equaliser to make it 2-2.
He's there. Old man Hummels tells me right where to go. He just waits. He just hopes that Angelino is going to just smash that across, because he does not move. He just opens his foot up and just allows the flashed cross from Angelino just to kiss the inside of his foot and into the roof of the net. But it's been coming. The amount of opportunities from wide areas to put dangerous deliveries in. Eventually one of those was going to count.
And Basuma had played everybody onside. He had stayed back right in front of Fraser Forster, who vainly stuck his right hand up appealing for an offside. Basuma clearly had played everybody on. The rest had pushed out of the 6-yard box. Basuma stayed in. And Hummels with the goal to make it 2 apiece. It's a bitter blow as far as Tottenham are concerned. 91st minute equaliser. Now can Spurs set about winning it and taking the lead for the 3rd time in the game. Solanke, Porro, Kulusevski around the corner of the penalty area. Foul on Kone. No, the referee says he dived. He's waved him up. Bergval knocking it square. Maddison to Timo Werner inside the Roma penalty area now. Gets towards the byline and hits the side netting with a cross-come shot.
I don't know why Maddison passed that across to Werner, because Maddison had the opportunity to shoot. He's good on both feet, James Maddison. Why not just shift that onto your left foot and take the strike from the edge of the area? Instead he played it out to Werner, who made a right mess of it, to be honest, putting it into the side netting.
Spurs down to 9th in the Europa League table as things stand right now. They started the day 7th. Manchester United still ahead in stoppage time in that game. In fact, it's just finished. They've won by 3 goals to 2 against Werder Glimt. The Shamrock Rovers have drawn 1-1 away to Rapid Vienna, which is a great result in the Conference League. Result of the night is going to be Rangers. They're 4-1 up at Nice in stoppage time. This one is 2-2. Basuma getting it forward. And now played up the left-hand touchline for Timo Werner. In the 4th minute of the 5 added on. Ball inside the penalty area. Angelino had more time than he thought. He sliced it away, sticks it behind for a needless corner. And he's complaining about the lack of communication. The people weren't telling him the picture, what was in and around him. He had so much time there. So a cheap corner for Spurs, and can they make it pay? Porro to take it. 6 inside the penalty area to attack it. It's a right-footed away swinger. Bergvall going up for it, headed away before he got to it. Kulusevski's compatriot will try and bring it down on the edge of the penalty area. Great play by Salamakis to win it back. But he can only poke it upfield so far, and Basuma will be there. Basuma to Porro, who just kept it in. Played it infield, but then lost possession to Sule. Madison is in there winning it back from Kone. Plenty of traffic between him and the edge of the penalty area, though, including Hummels, who steps up and gets it away. Bergvall tries to win it back from him. Hummels plays a hurried ball out towards the right-hand touchline. It's taken a deflection on its way out for a throw that'll be taken by Roma on the far side, and it's destined to end 2-2. We've got probably about a minute of playing time left. Little bit of time will be added on for the Hummels goal. And we've got 30 seconds of the original 5 minutes. It's the Roma fans you can hear now. It's Salamakis. It should go out of play for a goal kick, it does. Just a heavy touch from him, and Dragusin could watch it out. 2 balls on the pitch for a moment. Forster just paddles one away, takes the goal kick quickly. Works it forward towards the edge of the box for Bissouma, and the full-time whistle goes. And there's a very flat reaction from the Spurs fans, which in its own way speaks volumes about the frustration of a match in which they were dominant for such large swathes. They missed a stack of chances, nearly 30 shots, but they couldn't put Roma away. And it was Mats Hummels' late equaliser that stops Spurs, making it 8 straight home wins in the Europa League, because they've drawn this one 2-2.
Well, what should have been a really easy interview after the game for Ange Postecoglou, because his team were excellent for large parts of the game, created some great chances, but didn't take them, weren't clinical enough. The issue that they've had at times this season, and once again, that tiny bit of fragility when you need, you know, experience in your side to still get hold of a game and just keep the tempo up and keep possession. They weren't able to do it. They dropped deeper and deeper, even with the substitutions, and it was coming. That equaliser had been coming for the last 15 minutes of the game, and ultimately they paid the price because of it. Another learning curve for Spurs.
Time now to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
What do you reckon, Dean?
Dejan Kulusevski again for me. He's in such a rich vein of form. Everything he did had a slice of class about it. You know, not only is he unselfish in the work that he does, but also he's a real threat himself, and probably could have had a couple of goals. Another terrific performance, and really sort of nailing down that number 10 role at the moment here at Spurs.
So Dejan Kulusevski, our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
Sports Bar over on TalkSport, taking your calls. Spurs fans, what do you make of it? 03717 223344. Manchester United beating Bodo Glimt 3-2. Rangers winning 4-1 at Nice. And in the Conference League, Shamrock Rovers drawing 1-1 at Rapid Vienna. Larn beaten 1-0 by Olympia. Here at Tottenham, they led for a long time, but they couldn't hold on. Mats Hummels with a late equaliser to finish the game at 2-2. But the live sport doesn't stop here. From North London to New Zealand, and the second day of the first test between New Zealand and England. And it's a very good morning to John Norman.
It is a good morning, always a good morning when listening to Jim Proudfoot alongside Dean Ashton. Welcome to TalkSport 2 listeners here in Christchurch, where excitement, anticipation and the crowd has been building steadily over the course of the last hour. Hagley Oval looking a picture, despite low dark cloud. There's a chill in the air. Bowling conditions, some would say, although Harmy's been out on the pitch, he thinks still looks a belter. Running past the ground this morning around 8 o'clock, lost as ever, and already people queuing to get into the grounds. And if you've ever watched cricket in this country, you'll know why, because whilst the overheads may be cool and chilly, gaining a position under a little bit of shade is always wise. Harmy has been out there. We will get his thoughts on how the pitch is looking. The game situation is this. New Zealand yesterday asked to bat first, 319 for 8. Kane Williamson, their best bat, with 93, but it was just England's day, we feel, as Chris Woakes starts at day 2, and Glenn Phillips tucks the ball on the body